Why do good men fall while tyrants build empires? Why do those who tell the truth get silenced while those who deceive are crowned? What if the world doesn't punish the wicked? It punishes the naive. Niccolo Machiavelli believed in a republic. He believed in honor, in service, in diplomacy. He was not born cold. The world made him that way. And what he saw, what he learned from betrayal, torture, and exile, would become the blueprint for raw, unapologetic power. This is the story of a man who served with loyalty and was rewarded with chains. This is the story of how pain became prophecy, how disillusionment gave birth to doctrine. This is Machiavelli's revenge, and it begins the moment you open your eyes. Machiavelli was no prince. He was no warrior. He was a civil servant, a mind sharpened by history, diplomacy, and reason. In the city-state of Florence, he rose, not through force, but through thought. He negotiated with kings. He witnessed the chessboard of European power up close. And still, he believed in logic, believed in the Republic, believed that justice, once understood, would be followed. But he was wrong. When the Medici family returned to power, the tides of politics turned to blood. Machiavelli was stripped of his post. He was accused of treason, tortured, humiliated, exiled. The same system he had served, with precision and loyalty, crushed him without hesitation. This was his initiation, not into politics, into reality. They exiled his body, but they awakened something far more dangerous. In the silence of exile, Machiavelli began to write, not to vent, not to complain, but to reveal what he had truly seen behind the curtain. He remembered the corrupt clergy who preached compassion while funding assassins. He remembered rulers who smiled in public and slaughtered in private. He remembered how virtue was praised in speeches, then buried in practice. And from this memory, he pulled a single, brutal truth. Power has no conscience. It only has results. He did not theorize evil. He catalogued it. He did not invent manipulation. He simply explained how it works. And in doing so, he wrote what would become the most feared and misunderstood political book in history. The Prince. Machiavelli's teachings were not instructions. They were X-rays of human behavior. He taught that a ruler must appear good, even if he is not, because men judge with their eyes, not their reason. He taught that cruelty, if used swiftly and decisively, was more merciful than weakness drawn out over time. He taught that fear, though brutal, was reliable, because love fades, but fear remains. He taught that the ends justify the means, not because it's noble, but because the world does not reward purity, it rewards outcomes. He exposed the uncomfortable truth. People crave control, but they despise the ones who tell them how it's done. Machiavelli never held a crown. He never commanded armies. He never ruled a kingdom. But his words would reach farther than any king's sword. From Napoleon to modern CEOs, from tyrants to presidents. His work became a handbook for those who understood the stakes. He did not ask to be remembered, but his revenge was inevitable. The very men who silenced him would be guided by the principles he forged in exile. His blood brought clarity. His suffering became strategy. And in the silence of history, Machiavelli spoke louder than all of them. The weak believe the world should be fair. They wait for justice. They hope for mercy. They think if they are kind, they will be protected. But Machiavelli saw the truth. Power is not given, it is taken. and it is taken not with good intentions, but with cold resolve. The weak live in a dream, a world where morality governs outcomes, but reality has no such rules. The lion devours the lamb, not because it is evil, but because it can. And the rulers of the world, they are lions in masks, smiling, calm, cultured, but willing to kill when necessary. Machiavelli didn't glorify them. He just described them accurately, without flinching. That is why the weak despise him, because he ended the illusion. Machiavelli was punished for telling the truth too early, but his revenge came slowly, in ink. Now, centuries later, his philosophy still haunts the halls of power. Because he didn't write fantasy, he wrote what is. And those who seek dominion, those who understand that appearances are tools, that mercy is strategy, that fear is a weapon, they hear his voice, in silence, in shadows, in every room where control is decided. This ... is dominion within.